Friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I am just going to say the first 4 episodes in my mind could be the whole season. It could stop here, and I would be satisfied. As a recap, we have episode 1 where we see Omega and Crosshair on Mount Tantus, seeing everything that's been going on with those two over the course of, I don't know, ponytail length? Whatever it takes, however long it takes to grow a ponytail. I have no idea how long it takes. 6 years, 10 years. I think for hippies, it takes them less time. So maybe this could have been like a week. It's more likely that it was months of time. I don't know. But what we also see in episode 1 is the development of Crosshair, what he's going through. Now, I will say that episode 1 left me with more questions than answers. Episode 2, we jump across the galaxy. Again, I'm assuming we're starting back around the same time as episode 1 began, but obviously concurrently moving forward. We see the group, the remaining members of Bad Batch, just the 2 of them. We see Wrecker and we see Hunter going off in search of Omega. Now, what's interesting here is that they're working with the underworld. They're working with members of the Pikes, I believe the Donovans, I'm not entirely sure. The Deveronian group that is there, very shady and nefarious. It'll be interesting to see what other members of the underground world we are going to see. Now, we do see Asajj Ventress. We are probably going to see Boba Fett, Embo, this one, I forget her name. She's like Boba Fett's babysitter. Boba Fett is her ward trainer. She's like an 80s movie reject or a Sing. I think we're going to see a lot of these people from what we see in episode 3 and then now episode 4. I think we're going to see the bounty hunters being brought in. It was episode 2 actually makes me feel like this is the way that they're connecting this sequel series, which I have mixed feelings about, also to the High Republic, which then is connecting to the Acolyte, which we'll see how it all pans out. But that creeper vine, to me, is an example of the Drengir or the Dengir or whatever, not Dengar, but the Drengir, which is essentially if a hippie was turned into a plant and then sought revenge for global warming against Force users. That feels like what they're kind of doing in the High Republic right now. Could this be that? I don't know. It feels very similar. If you take a look at the picture that we saw, the gaping maw of the plant monster, and this picture of the Drengir, one seems to kind of look like the other. I don't know. It could also be a Sarlacc pit of sorts. I don't know, but it felt very much like that they were trying to make these connections. And what's interesting is they then get the Hunter and Wrecker are now in connection with more former clones. Now, to me, what I think might happen, which I think would be very interesting and incredibly frustrating, and I think would piss a lot of people off, is the Dread Pirate Boba Fett. Now, we have multiple characters of people who look like Jango, who are essentially Boba. Are these different? Are these different clones? We don't know necessarily a ton. If we've seen them in the beginning, it's likely that they're going to come back somewhere else in the season. Who knows, right? Maybe Omega and one of the 3 remaining end up kind of getting something, which would just be weird in a number of ways for a number of reasons. But it's Star Wars. I mean, weirder things have happened. I do think they're going to be coming back. Whether they're going to be useful to Boba Fett or not, I have no idea, and I just genuinely hope not. But it is interesting to see new clones being added. One of the things that's interesting, though, is in the final episode of 3 of last week's, we got the introduction of Palpatine coming to this base, coming to Mount Tantus. He's been there. He's taking a look at it. And to me, one of the things that was so fascinating about this moment is when we see the ground, it felt very much like the World Between Worlds, kind of the outline. But instead of the blue that we saw in the World Between the World, we saw red. And this feels some connected somehow, right? Is he pulling darkness into these clones or whatever it is that he's making? Obviously, they're trying to connect an M count that obviously that's midichlorian count. One of the things that's so fascinating is how it's all played out. And as Palpatine's leaving, he mentions to Hemlock, he says, some people, even amongst our own ranks, will view this as a abominable, right? A deplorable. He uses this word that is adorable. Palpatine refers to not just the Project Necromancer, but everything that's going on, an abomination. Now, that isn't something that's just simply used. That's a pretty big accusation. And for his own work, the things that Palpatine's putting into play. Now, with this 4th episode, I freaking loved it from start to finish. It began right where episode 3 left off. And I appreciate that. For me, it was something that just brought me immediately into the action. And being able to continue that. If I were to watch this 1 through 4, this is a movie. This is a Bad Batch movie. And I think it is exceptionally well done. Now, Omega and Crosshair, they land this ship that they've confiscated. It's been hit and it's being tracked. They have to find their way off the planet. They get into some shenanigans, but obviously the thing that hits me the most is this final moment of the episode. This was just a beautiful scene where we see Omega waiting for the rendezvous between the Bad Batch, Hunter and Wrecker, and her and Crosshair. Now, she hasn't told them that it's Crosshair who's helped save her. Like, this final scene is just simply beautiful. Like, the shuttle comes in, it slowly lands, they see the Marauder sitting there, ramped down. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? And it is a slow buildup. It takes time. And this was just so good. They land, she comes rushing out, and there's no one there. Now, to me, I think that we're going to see this moment again, but we're going to see it with someone else, right? We won't see it again with the Bad Batch. We won't see it again with these clones. What we're likely to do, what we're likely to see is someone else step from this moment, step from a ship like this. She's expecting the clones in the future. I think that we're going to see this, but someone else, someone not of the clones. Then Wrecker comes out. He's got the big old smile, that big hulky older brother moment, and they come rushing across. Now, I think that that's just, it's powerful seeing the divide, seeing what has separated them. They're two ships far apart, and they come running together in a heart. Well, there you go, the heart formation. It's beautiful, right? And Wrecker gets down on a knee. And what's interesting is no matter what Omega has gone through, they've gone through so much, but Omega's still a kid, and that's what's so fascinating about this is she's doing all these things, obviously with exceptional help, without the help of Nala Se, without the help of even Emery, without the help of Basher, right? It's none of that. She wouldn't have been able to make it as far as she did, but she's still a kid. And this is just a powerful moment. Like, as a father, this hit me. Like, this hit me deep. And then they have this moment. Hunter kneels down. He's like, how did you get off? How did you? And she steps back and said, I had some help, right? Camera pans back. And what do you see? We're back to that divide. We're back to the Imperial ship and the Marauder. We're back to Crosshair and the boys. And now Omega's over here. Crosshair's over here. and the episode ends. Now, this is just a powerful moment. Now, it's likely that the next episode will pick up right where this one leaves off. There's a total of 15 episodes in this, and I am super excited to see where this goes. Now, in the meantime, we're going to see a lot of really cool, really interesting characters being brought up, being connected to this, and I couldn't be more excited. This, to me, is what Star Wars television should be. It should be engaging. It should be fun. There should be stakes. There should be, characters that fit personalities. What we call them archetypes for a reason. The main Imperial in this fourth episode is an archetype for a reason, because the Empire was full of corrupt people using their position to take advantage. And that's what I loved about this. That's what I loved seeing. So to me, this is just perfect. A perfect 4-part opening to the season. We will get more. We will see more. Next week, I think we're going to see how this plays out. What did you guys think of the episode? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. And as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.